I was asked to cut these trees that are in these landowners' yard. I know 4 died of ash here to cut. This one's probably the worst one out of all of them. But I hooked the skidder up to it. I'm just gonna cut most of the meat and pull it over the skidder. I don't want anything to do with being underneath this when it goes, so. I could take my chances and walk up from behind the skidder, but if it was for some reason tip over while I was doing that, I'd be hurting. Here's the next two. This one here I'll be able to drop without any assistance, but this one I'm gonna have to hook the winch on too. That's got a pretty hard back lean, but we should be able to winch that over. last ash I cut, that was all tangled up in the maple there. And I'm not surprised it broke a limb out. Actually, I'm not surprised it didn't break more out. I didn't really want to cut any of that tree just because I didn't want to make a bigger mess for a landowner to clean up. But anyways, they're down, and we got them down safely. His biggest concern was mowing around them all the time because his yard goes right around all those dead ash there. So that's why he took the time and winched them over with a skidder or pushed them over, took care of them so he doesn't have to deal with them anymore. But anyways, if you guys seen that post I put on the other day of this cherry here, and how I dropped it, it was a real hard leaning cherry over their yard that came up from the wood line, and it was smaller. So what I did was I just cut a notch in it, and then I cut the notch bigger, and I kept doing that until the tree finally released itself. And sometimes that's a really, really good way of dropping really hard leaning trees. It's just like cutting any tree, you gotta be careful doing it. I like cutting trees that way, the real hard leans, if the time calls for it. Just like any tree, there's not one set way to cut a tree down. Every tree is a little bit different, and you might want to cut it a different way depending on what's going on with the tree. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video and have a blessed day. Thanks for watching.